My grandpa pranked his own house. So the concept of this is genius. When my grandpa would pull neighborhood pranks as a kid growing up in high school, whatever, he would, whatever prank he did on the neighborhood, he would do on his own house to cover his ass in case his parents ever thought he was the one to do it. So, like he had told me himself, really the concept of that is brilliant. But the execution, I guess back in the 60s, there was a prank called soaping windows. Could take a bar of soap and rub it on windows, and it would actually harden and seal. And then, once you sprayed water on it, it would go away. But when people woke up, their windows would be sealed in with soap. So great prank idea, in my opinion, because no damage, nothing goes wrong, and it's easily cleaned up. But the funniest part about this is he had done it a couple times, and I guess one of the second or third times he did it, he runs back after soaping the neighborhood windows. And when he goes to do his own house, he does like his dad's garage or whatever at the time. He said he remember waking up, his dad's going, "Some son of a bitch." La, 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 la. And then at the end of it, what ended up happening was he had to go out and clean up his own windows. So he said, it backfired a little bit. But in the grand scheme of things, he didn't get caught being the one messing with the neighborhood houses. So it sounds like it worked out pretty good to me. But I know I share a lot of my prank stories on here over the years. But when I tell you my grandpa just his prank stories and his stories from high school, like me and my buddies, they don't even come close to those guys. And that's one thing, like, I keep hoping that I can get them to come on, and it's hard, right? Like, it's taken me a long time to get remotely comfortable talking, because it's one thing to share a story with like a close group of friends or in your inner circle, but when you put the camera on, it just, for whatever reason, it takes a little bit of adjusting to just being yourself and being able to talk like you're talking to someone you've been familiar with for years. But I am going to start to try to get my friends and family and my grandpa on here, because his stories are just, they're so A1. And honestly, I can't tell you guys just how much I hope that everyone out there finds like a mentor. And it doesn't have to be your grandpa if they're not around or if you're not close with your family, but just a mentor to kind of someone a little older who can just kind of teach you some things about life. Like my grandpa's been through a lot in his life, and his sense of humor and the way that he handles things and the way that he talks and communicates with people and just the way that he's always handled his business. Like, as much fun as he is to be around, and it's great to make videos with him, and we got to make a movie script about him and my grandma, so that, it was cool to produce that into a film. But just the presence of someone who has lived more life than you and can just kind of give you a different perspective, that really means something. And honestly, like my grandparents they're my best friends, and my grandpa especially. Just over the years, I've gotten to spend so much time with him, and it's a special thing. And I hope for everybody out there, like I said, if you're not fortunate enough to have your grandparents around, just finding somebody in your life, whether it's parents or somebody in your career where you're working, just someone worth looking up to. And I don't mean that like hero worship or anything crazy, but just like somebody who has, had a lot of life experience, and you look at them and go, I don't know what it is about that person, but like there's certain aspects that I really like about them, because it allows you to find somebody who it's like, I like where you've gotten in life. I like what you're doing. I'd like to just, know what happened to get you there. Like, what have you learned up to this point? I think it's just good to have that. And like I said, whether it's a family member or just somebody who can give you just a different perspective on life and give you that taste of things, it's good. And maybe somebody can give you pranks. Like I said, my grandpa, his jokes and his stories and his sense of humor, man, it really has become such a huge part of my life, and I feel like I've been able to kind of take his style into the modern day, which I really appreciate. And I hope someday that we get to get him on here more and just let him cook on some of his stories and jokes, because they're A1. Mine don't even compare. So shout out my grandpa, great story. And honestly, I guess, if you want to go try the soaping windows prank, let me know. I'm kind of past the age of doing pranks, but I'd like to hear about the soaping of windows, if that's actually still an effective prank. So, now, not encouraging. Could be a real story. Could be a movie script. That's what we do on here. But that's today's episode, and we'll be back with more soon. Talks to Tom. Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more. See no more. I was riding around town thinking to myself, is it gonna get easier? I'll be up in a way of the street and bake, but I can't even breathe no more. Once they
to me. What can I see? Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more. See no more.
My grandpa soaped his own windows.